morning, my beautiful babes and babettes. I'm your resident active advocate. And I would like to finish off the What Lily Left Out series today by addressing what I left out in regard to the customer service regulations. My brain just froze. Okay, so for customer service, even if you are a business of one, not if you are self-employed, but if you are working for a business but working from home, you still have to have training regarding how to give proper service to people with disabilities. And this encompasses the whole range of people with disabilities who could be coming to you for whatever it is. Records of this training have to be kept on file by your institution and made available to the public. One thing that I was not aware of, however, is that not everyone gets the same level of training. This, I suppose, is sort of just intellectually obvious, but if you are more on the front lines with customers, then you are entitled to more training than someone who is basically working with the books or maybe stocking shelves, that sort of thing. It seems intuitive, but I hadn't thought of it. So there's that aspect. But the other aspect is the accessibility of the business itself. When people come into your store and they have their own assisted devices, and the example I would like to use is someone who uses a computer that talks for them if they are nonverbal or if they are deaf, then the person who is interacting with them in terms of customer service, it is still, just as with a sign interpreter or as with a guide dog or any other service animal or service person, it is still considered good form to look at the person, not at their device, because we are not our devices. They are considered in some ways extensions of our bodies, as a wheelchair is the function of the legs for the person who cannot walk. For the wheelchair user, it replaces the function. But for the person actually giving customer service, it's person first policy, always. So there's that aspect. But one other thing that I would kind of like to rant about, actually, is the whole idea of access to the service itself. Again, this is maybe part of the building code, but you do have to make your business accessible to people who want to get into the building. There was an instance at the mall near my old house where you could, if you were a wheelchair user, get in one entrance of the building, but not in the other, because the automatic doors were disengaged at one of the entrances, and that was the one that me and my friend had gone to. So we hit the button and nothing happens, and those doors were heavy. I was not using my wheelchair at the time, but I thought to myself, okay, since this is where we got dropped off, what if I were a full-time wheelchair user and I needed or wanted to use these particular doors? I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I would have had to go all the way around the building into another entrance at the mall and access the store from the inside. My friend insisted that we speak to the manager, which we did, and he was a nice enough guy. He spoke to me on equal footing. He didn't just fluff me off. He said to put my complaint in writing, and he gave me his email, and I gave him my complaint in writing, and then he never got back to me. So sometimes when we would go there, like me with my friend or me with my family or la-di-da, sometimes those doors would be engaged, sometimes they would be disengaged. It varied from visit to visit, which really annoyed me because there's also this element of consistency that if you are not maintaining the same practices, then people are not going to know what to expect from your business, which could definitely lower your revenue. Yes, I'm looking at you, business owners. Be consistent, please. That could lower your customer base. That could lower your revenue consequently. So consistency and accessibility, please. That wasn't so much of a what Lilly left out as just a general rant. I did still have access to the store, wink, but in a roundabout kind of way. And I personally think that that was an attitudinal barrier to service. Attitudinal barriers are much more annoying even than physical barriers because it's sort of this dismissive, oh, you can get in this way, so we don't have to let you in this way, or we can forget to engage the door, or, you know, that sort of thing. And that annoys me much more than the actual inconvenience itself, is the fact that they didn't really seem to mind how I got into the business itself. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to, you know, be that guy, right? But yeah, that sort of thing is annoying. So that is the end of the What Lilly Left Out segment of this series. Tomorrow, if I can get all of the information from my omniscient bearer of information in the sky, whom I love, and she is wonderful. She is also the writer of the blog, AODA.ca. Go there, read it. It's awesome. If I can get all of the information from her, I'm going to do a cleanup section. So these aren't things that I forgot to include necessarily. They're things that I screwed up, just flat out. And there's quite a few. And that's kind of annoying, but I should hopefully be able to get them all done in one video rather than separating everything into 5 pieces, right? As I have been doing, because there are 5 different regulations under the AODA umbrella, but they all have their own policies and procedures involved in them. Because the AODA, as I say, is an umbrella, but you know, you can get a lot of heads under a single umbrella if it's big enough. And yeah, that's my tortured metaphor somewhat for that whole situation. So I will see you tomorrow for the AODA regulation cleanup. All right, have a good day, my lovelies. Mwah.